Alright, what's up y'all, it's LakerFan here. As y'all can see by the title of today's video, ranking every defensive badge in NBA 2K21 Next Gen in tiers F through S. So we're going to start from the bottom, go to the top. I hope y'all enjoy. If you do, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all the good stuff. Let's try 1 to 1K likes in the first 24 hours. And if you're new to the series, we did this exact same format yesterday with the finishing badges, so if you want to check that out after this video, feel free to. We're going to have the shooting and playmaking somewhere within the next week, so stay tuned for that as well. But for today's video, as you saw by the title, we're talking about the defensive badges. So we're going to get straight into that. So to start us off in the F tier, we have two badges I would not waste your badge points on in any situation. We got Off-Ball Pest and Trapper. So starting off with Trapper, the main reason I have this so low, A, its functionality is very low in my opinion, and then B, honestly, there's nobody you should ever leave in this game. There's nobody you should ever double team off of. Everybody can shoot. It's about as simple as that. So if you double team off the corner, wing, wherever it may be, or off the screener, even if they are running screens, that guy can likely pick and pop, and then you're leaving him wide open. Trapper takes 2 people to function, and 2 people on ball this year does not work very well because everybody can shoot, and then that's just a bad situation for yourself. As for Off-Ball Pest, this badge is never going to be useful until it's great at what it's supposed to do because it's already so specific. But as far as actually trying to use it for what it's supposed to be good at, it's not like you're Derrick Henry just truck sticking everybody when they try to get past you. You're literally just nudging them. You're just bumping them barely when they try and get past you, and that's even with Hall of Fame. Like I said, this thing would be good if you were actually making an impact when it came to people trying to cut / pick and roll on you, but I just feel like its impact is not seen, and why waste 4 badge points when it comes to that. So as for the E tier, we have a couple badges that have fallen from their stints on the top in previous games with 2K20 and 2K21 current gen. We got Heart Crusher, Worm, and Pogo Stick. So to start with Heart Crusher, 2K21 current gen, this thing was insane. Like, you could literally make everybody go cold in just 1 steal attempt, and essentially this on Hall of Fame with your whole team, or even just gold on your whole team, was game breaking. Like, people would be cold all over the place, whether it's 3v3, Pro-Am, this was a 100% game breaker, and then for 2v2 even, it was still useful. So this was like A tier, maybe even S tier when it came to current gen. It was horrible on 2K20, but now here we are in 2K21 next gen. Horrible again. I feel like it really doesn't make any impact. I tried running this for about, I would say, 10-15 games. Never saw any impact as far as getting steals. I was a little bit disappointed too because I was over here getting like maybe 2 steals, even 3 in a game, and people still weren't going cold. So then moving on to Worm, I'm just a big hater of Worm because I'm always somebody who says the tall bigs are the only ones who really need this badge in the first place. Tall bigs are extinct on 2K21 Next Gen 100%. I feel like pick and roll itself is pretty extinct, to be completely honest with you guys. It's all just 6'7", 6'8" ISO. I do hope this has a little bit of a change when it comes to the meta of this game because obviously myself included, I would like to see some pick and roll, at least some, in this game, but I see no reason for myself to even run it in the first place when everybody can shoot and you may as well just ISO because everybody's just dunking their head off. But anyway, to stay on topic with the Worm, again, this is really only useful for tall players. You may as well just run around somebody rather than try and swim move / like spin move around them and get this little like automated CPU animation where I just feel like it's a waste of badge points when you can just use your own skill and your own mobility of your build to actually rebound better. And I feel like the Worm animation itself, where you're pushing somebody out of the way, just takes too long to the point where you can't even get the rebound half the time anyway. Maybe you take the other person away from getting the rebound, but still, you're rarely going to see yourself get the rebound when you have Worm activating in that situation. And man, it's tough to see Pogo Stick down here, but from 2K20, this was like A tier, S tier badge right here. It really was how we played interior defense. It was the only way that undersized were playing interior defense. But in this game, it just takes way too long. I tried this on Hall of Fame for about the same 10 to 15 games that I had Heart Crusher on as well. Like, literally, you can't get multiple jumps in with this. The only thing it's useful for is possibly trying to go up for a block and then still getting the rebound after you go up for the block. But honestly, it's not going to help you from getting dunked on. It's not going to help you from guarding the interior when it comes to like post scores and stuff like that. It's not going to help you with standing layup contest because you flat out just cannot jump fast enough the second time when you have Hall of Fame on. So Pogo Stick down toward the bottom. It's not in the F tier or anything like that because it's still like a somewhat functional badge. But again, these E tier badges are going to be ones that, yeah, they sort of work, but like not good, or there's no point in running it like Worm. So in the D tier, we got Post Move Lockdown, Clutch Defender, Tireless Defender, and Pick Dodger. For Post Move Lockdown, the main reason I feel like this badge is so low on the list is the use that you're going to get out of this by just running it on Hall of Fame no matter what. Now, if you know you're playing a post score or something like that and you're hopping on the dots, that's a different story. Then this badge becomes very effective and you should probably have it a little bit higher if you can even access it. We'll talk about that in just a minute. But As far as your use of the badge itself, constantly running this thing, it's very rare you're going to run into post scores, especially on anything but 2v2. If it is strictly 2v2 you're running, it's still going to be mostly ISO and mostly even maybe double ISO, where it's just people who are going to have two ball handlers constantly try and contact dunk on you like we were just talking about again. I mean, it's just the meta of the game. ISO is going to rule on twos, and it's really just rim run all over the place. You don't need post move lockdown when it comes to that sense. Now again, we were going to also talk about if you can even access this in the first place. So if you have low interior defense, you can't get post move lockdown. It's the one defensive badge you can't get if you go with something like I did, where you have low interior defense but max everything else. Honestly, it's just a thing of the past in my eyes. I'm never going to be able to use it anyway, but I do understand there are a couple people who can use it. It's just, again, the only time it's ever going to be useful is if you know you're going against a post scorer, and I feel like to just constantly run this and waste your badge points on it, it would be a tough scene. So now we got Clutch Defender. This is one I'm a little bit disappointed in. I was running it a lot. I never really saw too much impact when I had it activating. And even when it was activating, it was very late in the game. Like, we're talking probably 14, 12 points at least. And just like that, I mean, it's a badge that only is activating for half the game. And again, I just didn't see much impact when I had the badge on. Maybe I'm not seeing through the same scope that some of you guys would be if you like this badge, but personally, I just think it's not worth your badge points. Again, that's just the case with a lot of these defensive badges. It's not worth it. I was running on bronze no matter what for the most part, just to see when it's activating. And again, I feel like it was really around like 12 to 14 points that the opponents had. Like, not even just for yourself. It's just your opponents have to hit 12 or 14. It seems like if somebody knows the actual factual correction to that, go ahead and let me know in the comments if maybe you guys studied it a little more closely than I did. But personally, I feel like it was around 12 to 14 points for the opponent. So then we have Tireless Defender. This is the best D tier badge in my opinion. So if you wanted to raise this into the C tier, I totally understand. It's just for the sake of, again, badge points. It's not really much to talk about. I'm just going to leave you guys at that. It's a pretty solid badge for what you want it to do. Lose less stamina when you're defending. I just feel like you're not really blinking red when it comes to defense too often in this game. And then on top of that, honestly, just again, not really a useful badge in comparison to anything C tier and above. Wouldn't really use this at all times. Maybe if you want to run it on bronze, I understand to some extent. And then we have pick dodges. So a lot of people hated on this badge in the last 2 years, feel like it doesn't even work. Well, I'm here to tell you guys who feel that way that you don't even have to worry about it this year, because screens are completely useless. Honestly, like, it really does feel like they're really useless. And even if people do run screens on you, I would just recommend to play sides, because we're all 6'7", 6'8" anyway. So really, you can just switch everything. You're a versatile defender. You can guard backcourt, you can guard front court. It really is what it is. So a lot of people, I feel like you're not going to need pick dodger anymore. If you are somebody who plays front back because you got like a 6'4" point guard and then you got like a 6'9" big man, 6'10" big man, something like that, you probably want to run this badge because you're not going to feel very comfortable being versatile in those senses where the 6'10" wants to switch on the ball and then the 6'4" wants to switch on to the bigs. It's just not going to make a lot of sense to do. But rarely are you going to see people even run screens in this game. So it is what it is. It's low on the list for that reason. And with that said, we're going to reveal the C tier and the B tier at the same time, because I feel like these two badges are pretty interchangeable. It was going to confuse you guys if the black bar is like literally right here and it's just like, well, what the heck is this right here? And I had to explain it. Either way, I did have to explain it. So I guess I'm tripping. Anyway, in the C tier, we have Brick Wall, D-Leader, Hot Stopper, and Interceptor. And then in the B tier, we have Ankle Braces, Chase Down Artist, Rebound Chaser, and Box. So we're going to start with the C tier, and then we'll talk about Ankle Braces first when we get to the B tier, because this is one that I do feel like could belong in the C, potentially. So anyway, on that note of the whole pick dodger thing, we have Brick Wall in the C, because I just feel like, again, screens are pretty nerfed in that sense. I do hope some kind of gameplay tuning happens to where we can see a little bit more balance when it comes to ISO versus pick and roll. But right now, there's no reason to run anything but ISO, whether it be 5 out in Pro-Am, 3v3, just straight ISO, or 2v2 straight ISO. Even 2s just run double ISO. It just makes no sense to be setting any screens this year, and that's just how it is. And before we just move on to the next badge, I do want to kind of explain why that is. A lot of people, like literally everybody in this game, is going to have contact dunks, 90+ driving dunk, and then we all have a little bit slower jump shots, if you will. Now, once they patch that to some extent, we might see a little bit of a difference as far as like jump shot speeds, because you need really fast jump shots to be shooting through windows on pick and roll to make it effective. Whereas ISO, you could have a slower jump shot and it's all just about reading the defender right in front of you rather than reading two defenders at once and being able to get shots off through smaller windows. So as for D-Leader, this was my thought process when recording this video and putting this list together. I was like, oh, yo, D-Leader would be so fire to have on Hall of Fame, because then I could see the shot percentages as far as like what it might indicate what build I'm going against, because the build system this year and the titles are so vague. Like, it's all over the place. You never know what you're playing against. But then I realized everybody can shoot anyway. So what's the difference, honestly? And then if somebody can't shoot, it'll be very evident to you anyway. So that's why we have D-Leader a little bit lower. If this were such a game where not everybody could just shoot, then it'd be way better on this list. I'd say even A tier, because honestly, again, I have no clue what I'm going against half the time in these games because the build titles are so vague. So then we got Hot Stopper. Same thing with the Clutch Defender. I was a little bit disappointed with this badge. I feel like you're not getting crazy takeover boost when it comes to the things you do on defense, because this badge, for anybody who doesn't know, is supposed to give you takeover boost when you make defensive plays like steals and blocks. It's pretty much the opposite of Heart Crusher, to where you're taking the opponent's takeover down. Instead, you're taking your own takeover and making it go up faster. But it's not really the case in most situations. I feel like in the first place, it's just hard to make plays on defense every single time, like where you're just getting constant steals, getting constant shot contests, getting constant blocks. It's just, obviously, it's not an easy badge to activate, and even at that, it doesn't give you a massive takeover boost like, say, a Hot Shot or a Heat Seeker or Special Delivery for the shooting, finishing, and playmaking categories. They all have really good boosts when it comes to the takeovers you get from those badges. Hot Stopper, it is like comparable because it's the exact same process, like it's supposed to be boosting your takeover a lot, but it just feels very minimal in comparison to those three. I've got it in the C tier because I feel like the scheme of the badge is actually very useful. Like, for you to get takeover boost for you making defensive plays would be great. I just wish that it had a little bit more of a boost that it would give you like the other badges do in general. So then for Interceptor, honestly, the reason I have this badge in the C tier, and I feel like it could be a little bit lower, but I just feel like this badge is somewhat useful for the people who have the low pass accuracy on the other end of the people that you're defending, where you can bait them a lot more often to pass the ball. And with the slowness of their pass accuracy and just the fact that they have no bullet passer, maybe sometimes you can like be able to bait them when it comes to stuff like that, or even on the passing lanes especially. That's when this badge is actually very useful for. But I feel like the effectiveness of the badge, even at the highest levels, it's not really seen by at least me personally. I've seen people I go against use this to a really good level, but they also had like 95 steals. So it is what it is. I just have this badge in the C tier. Pretty like average badge if you ask me. So now is where we're here to talk about ankle braces. So this badge is actually very useful for countering the ankle breakers, but it's almost the same thing as post move lockdown. The only time this badge is ever going to be useful is for somebody who's using ankle breaker. That's just how it is, straight up. So for you to run this badge at all times feels a little bit wasted, but it's very effective in stopping you from getting your ankles broke. And I gotta say, man, like when you play against somebody with Hall of Fame ankle breaker, it's gotta be the most frustrating thing ever, where literally when you don't have ankle braces on, you're just gonna get snapped all day, because straight up, you gotta guard them. Obviously, they're just gonna green it like, you know, almost in your face pretty much every single time with the way the shot contest system works. And then on top of that, if you sag off, it almost gives them easier lanes to the basket anyway, because then you're not there to bump them. So when you play them tight, you're just getting your ankles broke when people have ankle breaker on. It's straight up as simple as that. But I do like the fact that ankle breakers are useful in this game. Obviously, we've seen the last 3 years when it comes to 2K20, 19, 18, ankle breaker has just been pretty useless badge in general. Even the playmaker takeover has been pretty useless. But let's get back to the topic of the badge. Is it useful to run at all times? I don't believe so, but it's very effective for the people who do have ankle breakers on. So just keep that in mind. Honestly, I don't know the levels to it because obviously this is just 1 week in. It's literally been 8 days since the game came out. We're here to give you guys the information that I can right now. As I learn more information as well as we keep on going through the game, I will update you. But for right now, I gotta say, I don't know the levels to it as far as which like badge levels are effective between bronze, silver, gold, Hall of Fame. So just keep in mind, you will need this for playing against people who have ankle breaker, but it's not often right now at least that you're going to run into those type of people. So for chase down artists, it's an ISO meta game. You got to play the people high to stop them from shooting. If you don't play them high, they're going to shoot the ball. And then when you do play them high, they're going to try and get past you and you're going to have to get the chase down blocks. Now, it's not super effective of a badge. I gotta say, I wish they would buff chase down artist a little bit, but it's a very necessary badge. You need to run this because of how ISO dominant and ISO meta this game is. So just keep that in mind. Again, not a super functional badge. It doesn't activate and work the best, but super necessary badge. So then we got Rebound Chaser and Box. I was maybe going to move Box into the C tier because it's almost the same thing as like 2K21 current gen and 2K20. I feel like you don't need these at a super high level, but I would recommend never put these below bronze. It feels the exact same way when it comes to rebounding. Now, I will say, honestly, you may need to run Rebound Chaser a little bit higher because a lot of the people in this game, they have like super high rebound ratings anyway. So for the people who are like me and ran on the inside bigs where you have really good defense, really good finishing and stuff like that, or the pure lock from current gen where you have like great rebound ratings and stuff, where I feel like the physicals and rebound ratings that I had in current gen, they were so much better than anybody I would go against. Now, in this game, everybody has great rebounding, everybody has great physicals, pretty much everybody has great vertical, not everybody, but almost everybody has great physicals when it comes to the vertical and stuff like that. So that's why I would say box is maybe more fringe C tier and rebound chaser is for sure B. I just feel like you're going to need this a little bit more with how great everybody's rebound ratings are going to be, but nobody's really going to run worm, to be honest with you, like of all the meta stuff, like the 6'7s and 6'8s and stuff like that. So box isn't really super necessary, but rebound chaser for sure is something you would at least want on bronze, maybe a little bit higher. And if you're really involved in the rebounding, probably Hall of Fame. So in the A tier, we got Intimidator, Pickpocket, and Rim Protector. So to start us off with Intimidator, great badge in 2K20, probably the best in the game, honestly, besides like maybe the 2 shooting badges and then quick first step. But either way, probably like top 4, top 5 badge in the game in general in 2K20. 2K21 current gen, this badge sucked. Like I literally didn't even run it at all, and I had the pure lock. Now that might have just been because of my defensive ratings, but I felt like Intimidator was literally useless on current gen. Now on next gen, this feels like almost the exact same thing as 2K20. It's just a different contest system to where even if you have the Intimidator and you're getting the 50% contest, people are still grinning in your face when it comes to the jump shots. It's honestly very frustrating, and we all know how this game goes at this point. But I gotta tell you guys who are frustrated with that, you are still getting the 50% contest. So that's why I say this badge is effective. If they fix the contesting to where 50s don't go in, then we're all good. That's just how it is. Now, I gotta say, this might just be because I haven't seen people with super low Intimidator and still trying to get contest. All I know is that Hall of Fame makes this so I get super high contest, and then I also have 25 interior defense in Hall of Fame Intimidator, and I'm getting super high contest on that too. So I gotta credit it to Intimidator, but it might just be the game's contest system. It is what it is. All I know is Intimidator is back, and it's a good badge as far as I know right now, 8 days in. So then we got the 2 playmaker badges on defense. We got the steals, and then we got the blocks. So I've talked about this in my video as far as like pretty much talking about the usefulness of steal rating, but we'll also just talk about it just in general here. I feel like defense is very frustrating to play conservative in this game. For you to not go for steals, go for blocks, go for chase downs, play people super high, stuff like that, you're just going to get picked apart all day if you're trying to play conservative, like non-aggressive defense. So I feel like things like Pickpocket and Rim Protector are super useful. If you want to see my video of using Pickpocket on gold with only like 84 steal rating, I was using this to like great extents, man. And I gotta say, I'm loving on-ball defense when it comes to actually going for steals and stuff like that while using Pickpocket and having steal rating. Now with that said, I also know a lot of people didn't upgrade steal rating, so it is what it is. Honestly, the reason I have this so high is, like I said, playing conservative defense is very frustrating in this game, but if you're somebody who didn't upgrade your steal and you feel like you're just gonna have to play that conservative defense, it is what it is. Obviously, Pickpocket's not the end of the world, it's just a very nice thing to have. It's not a necessary badge, but it's still a very nice badge to be using if you want to be a game changer on defense. And the same thing goes with Rim Protector. This is a very useful badge. It's the same thing as previous years where you and your teammates are going to get takeover boost for you getting blocks. You're going to get the ability to get snatch blocks of like bronze, and then obviously it helps you still get blocks the higher the level it is. So very effective badge, super nice for being a game changer and just a playmaker on defense, as well as, like I said, with Pickpocket. And then all alone at the top in big font for a reason, we have clamps in the S tier. So this badge is the end-all be-all of defense in my opinion. I feel like it's literally just what controls your lateral quickness when it comes to that. And then lateral quickness is super important in this game because ISO is so meta. It really is just what you need to be able to play good defense in this game. So the higher the level, the better. Unfortunately, I only have this on gold, so it is what it is. If there was one thing I could change about my build for anybody who hasn't made it yet, it is definitely the perimeter defense rating. But with that said, it's hard to get that super high maxed without taking a hit on things like Pickpocket and steal rating as well. So it is what it is. It's just a hard thing to balance, believe it or not, in this game where we have the ability to make complete demigods. But maybe if you were somebody who didn't care about the playmaking too much, or you wanted to lower your strength or vertical a little bit, I wouldn't recommend that either, but it is what it is. All I'm saying is, to have Hall of Fame clamps is pretty ridiculous in this game, but to do so, you have to take a hit on things like Pickpocket, steal rating, maybe some block rating. Obviously, super low on interior defense to be able to have things like this and this. But either way, just to finalize my thoughts on clamps, again, it's the end-all, be-all of defense in 2K21 Next Gen because ISO rules, and you need the lateral quickness, you need the speed to be able to stay in front of your opponent, and you're going to have to play super high to take away the three-pointers, and with that said, you need the clamps to compensate for that and give you more lateral quickness with that. Anyway, that's all for the video. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, feel free to drop a like, sub if you're new, turn on them noties, all that good stuff. Let's try to 1 to 1K likes in the first 24 hours. And if you made it to the end of the video, put defense in the comments, show support me all the way through. And with that said, too, if you made it to the video, leave your feedback in the comments. Let me know if you think I got anything wrong. Let me know if you agree, disagree with anywhere that I have one of these badges on the list. And other than that, hope y'all enjoyed. Take it easy, man. Peace.